Oops, let me just. There we are. Hello! How's it going, everybody? It is me, John, one of the
I'm
hosts here,
Lawrence.
and here's Lawrence right beside me. We are still waiting on Sam Boy. He's having some technical issues, hence why we're a bit late starting. But how's it going, everybody? It has been a while. We are back. So sorry it's been so long since we last did anything on the channel. Life has just gotten in the way. But anyway, so I'm going to leave the spotlight a little bit to Lawrence because it's been a while since we've seen Lawrence. I've seen Lawrence. I haven't seen him for a while. So, what have you been up to, Lawrence? Do you want to share with what you've been up to? Have you been playing anything? Seen any films recently?
No, I haven't been to the cinema. Well, I haven't been to the cinema recently. Yeah, I've been playing a bit on my Nintendo Switch too. I recently purchased Mario Tennis Fever, so
Mm-hmm.
I got that. That's quite good. I've still been rewatching some of my favourite episodes of MLP. And to those that maybe don't know, I will be at Griffish Isles 2026 next weekend
Very nice.
in Manchester. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, Griffin House. So, talk a little bit about Griffin House. What are your thoughts on that event?
Well, if you might remember that Sam and I went last year, and due to some lucky circumstances this year, I am able to go again. But in terms of the three of us, it will just be me solo this year. But if you see me, please feel free to come up and say hi. Don't hesitate. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a very nice little pony convention at the Pendulum Hotel. Of course, it's one of the UK's main MLP conventions.
Very nice. Okay. So, would you recommend Griffin House then to somebody that's in the UK scene?
I would, because it's a good little weekend away. It's a quite small convention in comparison. The two that I've been to, which are obviously Griffin House and
Mm-hmm.
PonyCon, and Sam and I will be doing PonyCon again this year. As I understand, you're not coming again to PonyCon, are you, this year, John?
No, I'm not going to be able to make it again, unfortunately. I thought I had enough holiday allowance left, but I found out
Yeah,
last
something
week
that
I didn't.
something I'm actually lucky about. Sorry for interrupting. I would say
No.
PonyCon this year is in Leicester, so
Yeah.
lucky for me because I'm from Leicestershire. So
You see, yeah, when I heard that they moved to Leicester for PonyCon, it'd be interesting if people start coming in. I mean, about what people think about Leicester, because a lot of people really enjoyed Nottingham, didn't they?
yeah, the
You
Nottingham. I
actually,
think the not. Yeah, I mean, last year we still had a great time last year. It was still a banger of a con. The only thing is that the venue at Birmingham, I don't think was really ideal.
hmm. Well,
Uh,
I mean, yeah, I mean, they had a lot of problems, I believe, because there was the problems with the queues. They had a lot of like limited space where they could put the voice
mm,
acting talent that they had there. Because if you remember when Ashley Ball came, it was an absolute disaster, wasn't it?
yeah,
Um,
but though one of the issues causing that was that they announced her so late. And then,
hmm.
so obviously, when that happened, so many people suddenly bought all the tickets, and it suddenly sold out. You know, and I don't think
Yeah,
they had enough time to pre-plan.
I
But I
think
mean,
yeah, there was a few. There was a few things. There's like obviously Ashley Ball was like a last minute thing. It was originally just going to be some AJ
yeah,
Bridal. It was only going to be her, I believe. Um, who played what was it? She was in G5,
uh,
wasn't she?
Pit Pit Peckles.
Pit Petals, that's right. So it was originally just going to be her, and then Ashley Ball was very last minute, and then they ended up having a sold out event, and I believe it was like the first ever sold out event they've had to deal with, and the queue situation really was bad. But
Yeah,
I think as well, even though the university, not the Nottingham University where PonyCon was being held, it was a good event. It was a good space. It was a decent sized venue, but they had a lot of constraints. There was like issues with like there was a lot of problems behind the scenes. They had technical problems. The obviously the
Yeah.
sound.
As I
The,
say, this year, because it's in Leicester, I mean,
mm,
DMU, De Montfort University, so it is actually a university campus.
yeah.
And I have actually visited. Obviously, I didn't go to university, but I do know of the campus, and it is quite good. It's quite spacious, and as I'm aware, not any they haven't announced any guests yet for this year's event. But
Hmm. Well, they haven't done so yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they might maybe get one person again, because obviously they got Sunset Shimmer last time, which I'm so gutted to have missed. I really am gutted to have missed her. And I won't be surprised if they get another big name this year as well.
what I really hope they would get Tabitha St Germain. I
Yeah.
really want to meet. I say I've met Andrea, I've met Ashley.
Mm.
Um,
I believe they have been trying.
yeah,
Apparently,
well, there was one year she was
yeah,
booked, but she had to drop out, didn't she, because of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
work.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, I mean, I would love to have come again this year because obviously we're missing last year, but yeah, it's just unfortunately, I thought I had, I thought I had enough holiday remaining for to take off, but apparently no. So I think I've overbooked myself by accident without thinking. But
You went to the
anyway.
TFN Minicon, didn't you, John?
Yeah, I went to Manchester. It was at the Pendulum again, where you're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to Griffin
that's where
Isles.
Griffith Charles is.
Yeah, yeah. So Griffith Isles also obviously that's going to be at the same hotel, the Pendulum Hotel, and it was my first time checking out the Pendulum Hotel, and it's actually a
Yeah,
decent,
because
decent
that
little
wasn't
place.
the year you and I went to the. It was a few couple of years ago now. The year that you and I both went to the TFN Minicon in Manchester, it wasn't
Hmm.
at that hotel, was it? But it was.
No, it was it was at a different hotel for that one, but they actually this well the Pendulum TFN Manchester's been at the Pendulum Hotel for I think it's been there now going on 3 events. I think it's like two or
Yeah,
three
because
events that
but
they've
the
been there.
hotel we were staying at though, it's quite close to the Pendulum, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
it's still within the Piccadilly area.
it
Because
is relatively quite close by. It's roughly
the year that we went, I think some people
mm,
booked themselves there thinking it was
mm.
that hotel by mistake.
Yeah, that's the main reason why they moved because there was for some reason the hotel for the first TFN Manchester Minicon it was there was another hotel of the same name, and so there basically was two hotels that had the same name, which was really confusing. And some people ended accidentally booking in error at a different hotel, not at the other hotel, so it caused a bit of issues and confusion. So yeah, but to be honest, I think the Pendulum Hotel's decent. It's a decent size.
There were two pendulums.
Is it two?
Is that because that was is that also the name of the one we were at that year?
No, 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 no. The other one was I think was called Manchester Piccadilly Hotel.
Yeah,
But apparently they'd recently renamed the name. They'd gone through like a revampment.
yeah,
The hotel, the first hotel for the TFM Manchester, it wasn't at the Pendulum. It was at I think it was called Manchester Piccadilly, but there was another hotel with the same name. But they'd recently changed the name to something else. That other hotel, but they still had the old signage and they were still going by that's the old name, but they hadn't changed it on the system yet to a different name, to the new name. So yeah, but to be honest, I think the Pendulum is perfectly located. It's right in the centre of Manchester. I think it's roughly about a 10-15 minute walk. I mean, it's roughly like a 10-15 minute walk, something like that, to Piccadilly Station.
yeah.
So
It
it's
is. Yeah,
pretty close by.
yeah. It is. It's in a very ideal space. So we had a great, really good time at the hotel last year.
Hmm.
Uh, of course, with it being a convention held at the hotel, if that's where you're staying, uh, you know, you got the best of everything, really.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But yes. but yeah, again, I just want to say really, really sorry. There is a couple people watching. I don't know who they are, but if anybody would like to get involved, send us a comment on the stream, and we can have a little chit chat, talk and chat while we're live. Like I said, we are hopefully going to be expecting Sam, but he's having technical issues. So he will hopefully join us eventually, and we can get all three of us on the stream. But
The curse of Windows PCs.
yeah, it's kind of strange because Sam always seems to have a problem with his computer when we want to do a live stream. I'm guessing it's maybe a system update. I bet his
Yeah, because
computer's.
they do update fairly regularly, don't they?
Yeah, luckily I noticed an update on my computer before I even started the live, about roughly an hour before the stream. I came upstairs and it actually asked me to. It actually did like an automatic update and asked me to restart the computer. So luckily I managed to sort that in good time. But yeah. So in regards to myself, I haven't done very much. I sadly will not be going to PonyCon again, like me and Lawrence has just been talking about. I've unfortunately, I think I've overbooked myself with other things going on in the year, and I don't have any more remaining. I know it's over the weekend. I don't work weekends, but when it comes to a convention, especially when I'm having to travel somewhere, I prefer to take at least a couple of days off after the event so that I'm able to get back home. If there is any issues of cancellations or anything like that with like the method of transport getting there and coming home, at least gives me a bit of breathing space in order to, sort things out. And also gives me a little bit of a respite before going back to work. So, unfortunately, I will not be doing PonyCon again, but I know Lawrence and Sam, my two co-hosts, will be there, and I'll be there somewhere in spirit, along with my two co-hosts in spirit, of course. But I'm hoping to try and make a PonyCon again in the future. I'm going to try and probably, because the problem is as well, they've changed the dates and location so much later in the year. They've done it like over
Well, it's over
Halloween.
Halloween weekend this year, isn't it?
Yeah,
End of October.
yeah, they've done it at Halloween. I'm hoping they don't do it for November. I'm really, really, really hoping. Um, yeah, I'm really hoping they don't. Yeah, what can I say? if they if they if this is going to be the thing where it's going to be later and later in the year, if they do November, then I'm not going to be able to do it at all within November because of my Christmas hours come into force in November, and I'm not allowed any time off. So luckily for Halloween, over the week over Halloween weekend and that I can take off, which at the moment, if the dates are going to be roughly about that time in the future, yeah. If it's any later in November, then I'm going to have a lot of problems being able to get there because I won't be able to get the time off.
The
But
thing is, it depends whether, I suppose, also, I mean, they've done it in two different cities, obviously, now, 2 years
yeah,
running. It was Birmingham. This year it's Leicester.
hmm
Works very well in my favour, but for you guys, it's quite. For you guys, it's quite a way, isn't it?
yeah, oh yeah. Ryan on Wi-Fi's here. Hello, Ryan.
Hi,
Good to see
Ryan.
you. He just says, "Will the who will be the special guest at Griffish Isles? Do you have any idea, Lawrence? If there is
I don't
anyone?"
know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. Last year I know they had they did like an online. They did a video. They had a guest on call, a voice
Hmm.
actress. I'm aware.
Right.
I think they have. I think because I think Celestia's voice actress did come in person one year, but
Oh, Nicole Oliver.
yeah,
Yeah, I would like to meet her as well. I'd love to meet Nicole Oliver. Obviously Tabitha St Germain would be fantastic because obviously she was the voice of Luna
yeah.
as well as
Obviously,
Rarity.
Luna and Rarity.
The thing is, I'm wondering if is it Shannon Chan Kent is her name. She's a voice actress. She has worked on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, as well as Equestria Girls.
Mm.
Um, she is coming to the UK for a convention. I think she's going to. I don't know if it's a London-based event. I can't remember. She is coming to the UK, but I'm wondering whether maybe she could be an idea for either a PonyCon or Griffish Isles as a guest in
Yeah.
honour. Because why I'm saying that,
I think because Griffith Isles is so much smaller.
yeah, yeah,
I think last year it was about 200 attendees, and
right.
compared to PonyCon, it's a couple of thousand usually.
Mm.
So it's
Yeah, because I'm just thinking the reason why I bring her up, for those that don't know or maybe don't remember, Shannon Chan Kent, she's the singing voice of Pinkie Pie, and I believe
yeah.
she's the voice of Wallflower Blush, which is I think that's her name. She was in one of the Equestria Girls. She was in the web series of the Equestria Girls series. And she voices a character that basically comes into it, and people can't remember even seeing her, but she's always been there.
Yeah.
Um, so she's the singing voice of Pinkie Pie, and also she does voice a couple of characters on the show as well. Um, so that would be pretty cool. I mean, she is coming to the UK this year, so I don't know whether anybody has managed to get hold of her to come to the UK for a second time, or I don't know. I mean, it doesn't coincide. Her coming to the UK doesn't coincide with any of the. I don't. Obviously, it doesn't for Griffish Isles, and it doesn't
Yeah.
for PonyCon either. But
The other two pony conventions, obviously, that none of us have done is we haven't done HarmonyCon or Festival of Friendship.
mm,
So,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I mean, to be honest, I mean, for anybody that's worked on Friendship is Magic, I'd love to meet. Any of the voice acting talent. I mean, obviously, with Ashley Ball was absolutely fantastic to see. And
yeah.
then Um, obviously, the main big one would obviously be Tara Strong, Tara Strong, the voice of Twilight. But the
I think the
likelihood
chances of them getting her would be.
it would be a big
And
ass.
imagine how I think regardless of anything they could do, it would probably it would be very chaotic. The organisation.
It would be chaotic. I mean, they would have a major problem. They'd have to get a much bigger venue as well for her, just because. Basically, if they got Tara Strong, I mean, it's not just MLP she's known for.
No,
She's in
she's
a
way of
lot of
A
things.
list.
Yeah,
She was in loads of things that I obviously I remember as a kid.
mm,
She's
yeah,
been in
she's known for a lot of different things, but
yeah, I think the two main things I watched her from, I knew her from the Powerpuff Girls and MLP, but
yeah,
I know that she was in
yeah,
Regis.
yeah. I mean, I know her from. I know. Obviously, I watched Powerpuff Girls myself when back in the day, and obviously she was in a lot. She's in a lot of the Batman stuff. As she plays Batwoman as well as I think she's also done. I think she's voiced Batgirl as well.
Yeah,
Um, but she's mainly known for both either the Batgirl or Batwoman characters. She's played Barbara Gordon as well, which is obviously the alias, the actual person that Batwoman is. But yeah, that would be the dream if she ever came to one of the PonyCons. But she would have to be like the only guest because they won't be able to handle any more guests on top of her alone.
no.
Um,
As I say, I'm glad, even though I was still in the queue for I think around over 2 hours when Ashley was there. But straight after the opening ceremony, I went and got straight in the queue.
yeah.
Um, and then I think then on the Sunday, one of the last things I did was I went in the queue to meet AJ.
Yeah, I mean the queue for AJ wasn't too much of a problem. It was just
No, no, it
mainly
wasn't.
the it was mainly Ashley Balls.
No, but I mean, Ashley was lovely, and AJ was lovely too. She was.
No, they were both lovely. I mean, to be honest, I have a lot more respect for Ashley Ball because basically she really did when she came to PonyCon that year. She went above and beyond.
She did. I
Um,
mean, yeah, she. I mean, she stayed. During her breaks and stuff, didn't
mm,
she? Make sure people could see her, and
well,
she
they basically due
stayed
to
past the closing ceremony. I
yeah
think, didn't.
yeah. I mean, they have like a contractual agreement. Well, whenever you get a guest of honor, any sort of guest. I mean, obviously, with this being a dedicated convention, they will have like obviously because there's two types of conventions. Of course, there's you got your dedicated ones, which is obviously PonyCon, Griffish Isles, TF Nation. That is the Transformers one. There are like you got like you've got your ones that actually is mainly for a specific thing, which is obviously MLP or whatever. Um, Usually, when it comes to booking a guest, they have a contractual obligation. They have like that they talk with the agent and they talk with the actual guest themselves of what they are willing to do, how many autographs they are willing to sign per day. All this stuff is all taken into consideration. And when Ashley Ball came that year, she had to. She basically they had to enforce her a break because literally the first time we went in the queue, we actually got literally within. We actually was the next. Me and Sam were the next in queue. We finally got to the front, and then they had to enforce a stop right there and then. And then we got given like fast track tickets to go back again later in the day for the next signing session. So we went back again, and then we had a major problem again because the people in the queue didn't seem to have an idea, and it was one person in particular. I can't remember her name, but there was one lass in particular that recognised certain people that were right at the back of the queue that were there before everybody else, the time slot before. And
Mm.
thanks to her, we got brought forward, and we actually eventually got to meet her. But we lost so much time. We hardly saw anything of that Sunday. Um, I kind of wish we'd done it on the Saturday and kind of used the Sunday more for shopping and checking everything out. But the problem is, we had a major problem. We sacrificed
Yeah.
so much of that event for that
As I
day
said,
just basically in the queue.
the funny thing is comparing it to when Andrea Littman was there, and obviously she
Mm,
plays two of the main six as well. And I
yeah.
don't remember it. I mean, I remember when it was the first one. The first one, no, the second one post the lockdowns. The
Hmm.
PonyCon 2021, they didn't have any guests. 2022, I think, yeah, was when Andrea Littman was there. But there
Yeah.
weren't issues like that when she was there. Because I remember Sam went and met her first, and I had to go and get in the last queue on the Sunday for the
Yeah.
last signing. Um, I remember what I did was I got in the queue prior to make the purchase of the ticket and the autograph, the autograph card, and then the last one I went and got in the queue to and then the last one I had to go and get in the queue and
Mm.
but I was only in the queue I think for about 15-20 minutes to meet Andrea. Um,
Yeah. It was weird. I mean, obviously, to be honest, part of me isn't really surprised or as to why there was such an increase in interest to meet
mm,
Ashley Ball because yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, Andrea Libman, obviously the characters she voices, Fluttershy and Applejack, they are beloved
Pink Pie,
characters.
Fluttershy and Pink Pie.
Fluttershy, yeah, sorry. The Andrea Libman obviously and Pinkie Pie, yeah, sorry. Those two characters are beloved within the fan base. They are. She is well known for other stuff.
Next to Twilight, Rainbow Dash is probably the next most popular one.
I think a majority of the fan base really seem to. I'm not saying everybody. Everyone has their favourite main character favourite, of course. But Rainbow Dash is mentioned a lot with fans. I don't know what it is about her per se, but she resonated with a lot of people because, I mean, I love Rainbow Dash. She is my favourite out of the. I mean, I love all of the characters. I love all of the main six. I mean, obviously, my second favourite is Sunset Shimmer. She's my second favourite character. But she comes into. Obviously, I will say as well, another favourite of mine is Starlight Glimmer because she grew on me later on when she really blossomed as a character, which is a testament to the writing at certain points throughout Friendship is Magic because a lot of people were very unsure about Starlight Glimmer when she first made an appearance, and she was actually one of the bad guys, and she gets she was a bad character. I won't say she was evil, but she went down a wrong path. She didn't have any friends, and she became corrupted. And she ended up
a major part.
Yeah, she does.
Major arc is in the first Equestria Girls, isn't it?
Yeah. She plays a major part. I mean, the facts when she first comes in. She did get a lot of criticism from fans. A lot of fans did not resonate with her at the beginning. But then when the latter seasons after she made her debut as a character, she really blossomed as a character and she really embodied and really helped the series up until season 9 when it ended. She's become one of my favourite characters, and I'm so glad I managed to meet her as well.
It was the same with the characters like Trixie at first. It took the fans a while to kind of get on board with her, but she became quite a popular character because she.
I mean, Trixie has always been one of like the standout secondary characters. She's always had a fan base right until from the very beginning, but what I love about the whole dynamic of Starlight and Trixie together, like Starlight and Trixie becoming good friends. Some of the episodes that feature just mainly Starlight and Trixie are really, really good. They are hilarious because they are two very different characters, different personalities, but yet they gel so well, and they're a great duo. They're a great little team on their own. And some of the episodes that feature Trixie and Starlight predominantly are some of my favourites in the later seasons. Really are.
And obviously, what was it? Yeah. I mean, and obviously, I have Matt Kelly Sheridan. The year she was there, that was the first PonyCon you came to, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, that was my first one when I met her. I mean, there was no problems with the queue with her either.
No, I mean, obviously she doesn't play any of the main 6 or anything, but she's
she technically does because Starlight becomes obviously Sunset Shimmer's technically the 6th element, but because she technically resides in the human world, Starlight technically embodies that 6th element where it was originally meant to be Sunset Shimmer, but then if you look at the Sunset Shimmer doesn't reside in Ponyville anymore or Equestria anymore. She's gone to the Equestria Girl side, so the human side. That's where she resides and that's where she lives all the time. But Starlight Glimmer and Sunset Shimmer, they are pretty much kind of meant to be the same character. That's why their names are so similar. You got Sunset and Starlight Glimmer and Sunset Shimmer. They're pretty much kind of just basically those two characters are supposed to be the same character, but they're not. They've got their own personalities. Basically, Sunset Shimmer at the end, she does become the sixth element. So she's technically the sixth element in the Equestria Girl side. And then obviously, if you want to say this, Sunset Shimmer is technically the seventh bearer, but yet there isn't really a seventh bearer. It's meant to be the six only.
Yeah.
But technically, she is kind of like an extra bearer, and that's why Sunset Shimmer comes into it a couple times into Ponyville, makes little cameo appearances now and again in later seasons. But technically, part of it's still canon, but she's obviously it's all part of like because originally with like when they did Equestria Girls, it was done parallel to what was happening in the storyline, and then when after season 9 finished, Equestria Girls did carry on for another couple of years, but it went into obviously into the mini series. And when they started doing the web series, like the YouTube web series for Equestria Girls, they sort of tried to kind of, even though it was still canon to Friendship is
Yeah,
Magic.
I say because the Equestria, the first Equestria Girl starts in the main universe, doesn't it? The plot
Yes,
with the
yeah,
plot
yeah,
with Starlight plot with Sunset Shimmer going
yeah,
into the to the Counterlot High, and then with Twilight and Spike following her.
yeah,
Twilight, that
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how it starts. So we know it's connected.
yeah. Yeah. It is still connected. It is still connected throughout the run of both parts, but it obviously they introduced when they introduced the human version of Twilight Sparkle, that's where things changed because obviously they found the human variant of Twilight Sparkle in the human world, and she
Yeah,
basically kind of took the spot of the pony Twilight.
she does. Yeah,
So they didn't really, even though it was still canon and Twilight was sort of still kind of mentioned in the background, like Pony Twilight, but it became its own thing. It became its own continuity with the
yeah.
web
As I say, because
series.
it wouldn't have made much. Because technically, the Twilight in the first
Mm,
Equestria Girls is the pony Twilight, but she becomes when they enter the Equestria Girls universe, she becomes the human version of herself. But there's obviously already a Twilight there,
yeah,
and
but yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued. I mean, I'm intrigued about what the future could be. I mean, hopefully Sam should come in soon. I mean, we can actually
yeah,
get a proper conversation going, really, and get him involved as well. But um, I mean, I don't know what the future is going to be. I mean, there's been a lot of quietness. There's been a lot of quiet around MLP. The last bit of major update from anything was literally last year, which was the announcement of a possible rebrand of MLP
mm.
when it comes to everything.
I think the idea was I kind of do appreciate that Gen 5 was in the same continuity as
Yeah,
Gen 6, but I think given what they had to work with and the barriers they had to work around,
yeah.
that was why it probably ended up not going so well.
I think,
The idea of having a reboot like they'd done with
yeah.
the previous sort of versions of the show
Mm,
might be the way to go.
I think so too. I mean, the problem is with using French Prince Magic as an anchor point. That is the main outdoing. That is the main problem
Yeah.
that was presented to the people working on Make Your Mark. Because even though the movie's fantastic, I love the G5 movie. I think it's really, really well
Yeah.
done.
The G5 movie was a good introduction,
It was a really good introduction, and you,
and of
mm,
course, with it having a proper film, a Netflix film budget, they were able to. They had some pretty big names in it.
yeah. I mean, they had a lot more money. They had a lot more money to be able to bring in the.
And obviously, it begins.
Mhm,
It does begin with you seeing the Gen 4 characters in the animation style of Gen 4 because the you know because then it's discovered it's being reenacted by the
yeah.
present ponies with their toys.
Yeah, I mean, I really did like that. I mean, obviously, you could see with the film they were introducing things. They wanted to go in a certain direction. They wanted to kind of like keep it within the law and keep it within the canon of of French Magic. But when it came to the series, they didn't have as much money.
No.
It was pretty much done on the cheap. Make Your Mark
Yeah.
was really done on the cheap. They actually had two animation studios working on it. They had there was one animation studio that was, I can't remember the name of one of them, but there was one animation studio that was doing the main series, the actual series of episodes,
And then
and
they
then
obviously the specials.
and then there was another animation studio which I believe was Boulder Media, I believe it was. Excuse me. There was a UK based. I think it's based in Ireland or something. I can't remember, but it's a UK based animation studio that was working on the specials. Um, but yeah, it's kind of a shame because if they didn't have the constraints that they were facing for G5, I honestly think G5 would probably still be going now. And if they was able to really, I think G5 could have been pretty special. I think it could have
It
been a
could have
really nice.
been.
I think they
It
could
could
have.
have been.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
at
it could
points there were even talks, whether although they might have been just hoaxes of them possibly
hmm.
bringing Gen 4 back due to the demand, but the
There
idea
has,
of doing that when they're in charge
yeah,
of another franchise, supposedly a generation off into its future.
there has been a lot of talk about possibly doing a season 10.
Yeah,
Because originally they were supposed to do 10 seasons. It was meant to be a 10 season run. But for some reason they decided to end at 9. So it technically it didn't get cancelled. It did actually get a conclusion. They did manage to conclude. They did conclude the story in a certain way with season 9, but a lot of fans wasn't happy with. There was some fans that wasn't really happy with
mm.
how season 9 ended, and
Yeah.
it's sort
I
of.
like the fact that Twilight became the ruler of Equestria because it kind of
Mm,
would make sense.
yeah. Oh
But
no, no,
but the one
that
thing I
makes
really
sense.
didn't get was the fact why they all changed their appearances and seeing them grown and stuff and all that.
Yeah,
And considering what they ended up, obviously I know part of that was due to contractual reasons, but what they did with Spike in Gen 5, you
mm,
know, I mean, I get he's supposed to be a baby dragon, but like he's close to like full dragon size at the end of season 4, but still sounds like his little self. And then they,
yeah, yeah. Uh, to be honest, I have a few theories about Spike. In mainly the G5 Spike, when Spike comes back into it in G5. Now, he the way the story was going, it was heavily hinted in Fredbear's Magic that Spike potentially could be an element bearer,
yeah,
but they actually went they actually went away from that, totally went away from that, um, and they ended up kind of introducing Starlight Glimmer, who became the sixth element bearer anyway. But basically, when it comes to Make Your Mark and they brought Spike back, I have a reason. I have a kind of a bit of a. It's not. I don't think it's been confirmed anywhere as to why the major changes. But I think the reason why Spike ended up getting such a major redesign for Make Your Mark is to try and get around the copyright and try and get around
yeah,
the having to pay a massive fee for him to make an appearance. Because even though he became a secondary character later on, after season 4, So after season 3, from 4 onwards, Spike is included much less. He's not really included as much as he was like the first 3 seasons.
No, but the thing is, the first three that was as far as it was originally going to go, was it? That was when Lauren Forst left the show,
Mm.
but due to the demand and obviously the increasingly growing Brony audience, it ended up going on and on.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we've got someone that's just come in. BT14 has just said, what would you honestly prefer, a 10th season of Friendship is Magic or something completely from scratch? I think MLP needs a fresh start, not trying to live up to or exceed G4, just its own throughout story. That's actually really, really good. What do you think,
Yeah, it's a
Lawrence, on
really
that?
good point. I mean, to be honest, if they were to do the 10th season of Gen 4 and they got it right, as in the time and effort was put into it, that might be a good thing to do, because I think it would give a lot of the Friendship is Magic fans what they want. In another case, is if they were to just do it, say, right, we can make a load of money off of this, we can bring the merchandise back, and we're going to rush it to get it out
Mm.
and make a mockery of it, that wouldn't be fun. And I think depending on what they were willing to do, in cases where, because you wouldn't want to, in terms of being careless and just rushing a crappy series with a crappy story, the crappy rush storyline out, wouldn't be a good idea. And in that case, it would be good to rebrand.
Mm.
Good to rebrand the franchise. In case if they were to maybe take their time with it, and and to make sure they got it right, a 10th season of Friendship is Magic, I think, would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm kind of in two minds on this because even though I would love to see a 10th season and actually get a much more of a proper conclusion to the story than what we got with season 9. However, it has been a bit too long. It's been like it's over 10. What is it like? I think it's like over 10 years now
Yeah.
since it celebrated its 10th anniversary. I think last year.
What was it?
Um,
It was 2010. The first season series premiered, wasn't it? Friendship
yeah,
is Magic.
2010 when it came out.
It's been like 16 years. It's been around for
It's
16
yeah,
years.
it's been a while. It's been quite a while since the series started, but it has been quite a while as well since season 9 finished,
Yeah.
and it stopped airing. Um, even though part of me, even though part of me would really, really love a 10th season of Friendship is Magic to get like a much more better conclusion,
Yeah.
but I would actually prefer part of what the questions asked there. I would actually like them to not tether and continue G4.
Yeah, as I say, I'm very much in the two minds, as I said. So,
Yeah.
I think the fan base would still want it. It's obvious still with the conventions going on. Is a lot of the reason why is, I think, because there's still this very wide and wide fan base, particularly for Friendship is Magic.
Mm,
I mean, you always see. I think a huge majority of the attendees at these conventions are the adult fans.
mm,
I mean, of course, there are fans that have been, fans since the 80s.
yeah.
And personally, I can't get into any of the stuff before Friendship is
No,
Magic.
I'm the
It really,
same.
it really doesn't have the appeal.
Yeah,
I think that the Gen 1, certainly, it does have the appeal for its target audience, which is little girls.
yeah.
But
Um,
it's not.
yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, to be honest, I would actually just to finish off answering this question because he has asked something else. Personally, I would like something completely new. I would like a new core main characters, a new
Yeah.
story. I don't want any. If there is going to be a G6, I would like a completely new continuity.
Yeah,
Nothing,
that'd be a
not
good idea.
yeah,
Maybe in
because
cases, maybe a brand new continuity
yeah,
with new characters,
yeah,
um
yeah,
not
yeah.
rebranded versions of the classic ones,
I
because
think I
I
think
think in
that's
cases that you'll just get, if
yeah.
they rebrand the franchise again with the same classic characters,
Hmm.
they'll just get constant comparisons.
Yeah, this is the problem: is that if they continue to if they continue to use G4 as an anchor point, whoever works on that series, whoever works on that series, they're going to come up against a lot of issues because as the people that were working on Make Your Mark, they would have to pay a substantial amount of money each time a cameo appearance happens of any of the G4 characters.
Yeah.
And
Obviously, in cases you did get Spike, who was given that really ridiculous makeover to avoid the copyright,
yeah,
but then you got that, what, 5 second cameo of Twilight as a hologram, hinting that she was probably going to come back in. But how much did they have to spend on that?
I think that's probably where they found out because they made apparent to bring Twilight in, even though she was a hologram. But they did bring Twilight in. The fact that is technically a cameo appearance, so they probably found out from that point because you notice from when Twilight makes an appearance, the writing changes from that point. And I think they was originally going to. I think everything was pointing at a possibility of bringing Twilight back into it, because obviously with her being basically she becomes like Celestia and Luna, where she's immortal. Basically, she doesn't die, she doesn't age, she just stays like that. I mean, like Celestia and Luna are over 1,000 years old. So Twilight is technically like that herself. She becomes a full-on Alicorn princess. So basically, she would still be alive in the time zone of Make Your Mark. So, but
Yeah, no, obviously that they were hinting that her and Opaline sort of had
mm,
a backstory.
yeah,
Like it was hinting that she banished Opaline when.
yeah. About Opaline was apparently I think it was mentioned that Opaline was actually. I think she was like a student of I think of Celestia, so she was one of like
Yeah.
Celestia's students. And then obviously when Twilight comes into it and everything, and she kind of that's why she has this issue against magic. That's why basically it's down to Opaline why the magic vanished in the first place.
Mm.
And basically she put an end to magic and everything, and that's why she had such a disdain about magic being used. So yeah, so basically she had basically a problem with Twilight as well as Celestia. She had like a grudge against them. But yeah, I mean, I personally would really love um, if they make a G6. I don't have a problem with a rebrand. I actually would actually prefer a completely new continuity, not anchored to G4 in any way. Brand new characters, maybe still within the same world, but it doesn't have to be. It could still be Equestria, but it could be kind of like a different location, a different town, different core characters, but it's not connected to G4 in any way. It's just its
Yeah.
own thing. I would prefer that because if you do that, the writers have more free reign to really develop the story, to really develop the characters, and they don't have any constraints when it comes to making cameo appearances, things like that. I think going forward, the best logical way to go about it is to just move forward. G4 was G4. It will always hold a special place in our hearts. But I think the time is. I think a lot of fans want it to continue and want it to move away, even though there are some fans that would love a 10th season. I would love a 10th season as well and get a proper conclusion, but it's been far too long. It has been far, far too long now. It's been quite a while since season 9 finished and G4 finished airing on it ended. It's been far too long, I think, for it to come back or make an appearance. I think
Yeah,
it.
and
I think.
I agree. And obviously, what you'd have to take into account is if they were to bring Gen 4 back, is that there'd be a whole new generation of younger fans now that wouldn't be familiar with Gen 4's concept.
Yeah, that's it. It will probably. I mean, say what you want about Make Your Mark. Yes, it failed when it came to what they originally was intending to do. However, Make Your Mark did a really good job of bringing in a new generation of fans, and thanks to the G5 movie, it introduced a lot of people that had never really saw anything of G4, or maybe a very little at the very end, and it actually introduced
I
a
think
lot
I
of fans.
remember. Yeah, I think I remember that Sam and I we went to PonyCon. I think 2021. That was that PonyCon was the weekend. I think after the Gen 5 movie debut on Netflix, and we actually met. I think we met one person who the only thing he'd ever seen of the franchise was the Gen 5 movie that week, and that made him decide to want to come to PonyCon.
Yeah, I agree. Let me just bring this one in. I think a good way would be for Hasbro to actually hire more people from the fandom, real fans who can animate, write, and design. Well, they did do that with Make Your Mark. What was it? Was the alias? Was it Emalu? Amalu? Something like that, I believe. I can't remember if I might be butchering that, but they did. Yeah, they did bring in a fan artist that was known for doing really, really good fan art. And they did actually bring somebody that represented the fan base to work on the character designs for Make Your Mark. So Sunny and everybody were all designed by that person. So that person ended up becoming kind of like the lead character designer, and I think also kind of like helped contribute towards other parts of the production. So yeah, personally, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't have a problem with that because I think it would be really good because there is some incredibly talented people. There is some incredibly talented people that are a part of the fan base that are incredible artists, great writers. There's some really good fan animations as well over the years, and yeah, I don't have any problems with that. I think that would be really, really cool. I just want to say very quickly, Lawrence. Unfortunately, Sam will not be joining us tonight. I don't know what the issues are, but for some reason he's had major problems with trying to get on the stream. So, unfortunately, folks, Sam, our mutual co-host, he won't be joining us tonight, even though originally that was the plan. So we will come together at some point soon. We'll probably do another one. Probably because obviously you're at Griffish Isles, aren't you, next weekend,
I am, yeah.
Lawrence? So yeah. So if you wanted to, Lawrence, do you want to do another live stream the Friday after you get back and talk about your experience?
Yeah, I can do that, and obviously I will have some. I will quite likely have some footage that I will upload.
Okay, so unfortunately that's a bit of a bombshell. I do apologise to anybody that wanted to see Sam as well. These things happen. These things happen. Technology is great when it works, as people say. But unfortunately, Sam's had a major problem at some point on his end, and he can't get on. So I have said if he wants to kind of get involved in the comments in some way, he can. But I don't know if he can or not. But well, anyways, so what we do then, Lawrence, if you wanted, we can maybe do another 30 minutes and then see about finishing.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be
I know
that'd be
it's I know
fine.
it's I know it's a short one, but at least it gets a stream
Yeah,
out this week, and we can also
yeah, it
do
does. Yeah,
we can do another one. We can do
we
another one
can.
when you
Yeah,
get back from PonyCon,
yeah,
from Griffish Isle, sorry. But yeah, so basically getting onto the tangent of what BT14 was saying, Lawrence. I know you kind of said a little bit about um, we've already kind of spoken a little bit about the possibility of a rebrand, but what would you personally love to see moving forward with a possible G6? What would you possibly like to see if
yeah.
you moving away from G4? What would you possibly?
If it
What would
was
you
going to
like
be
to
a
see?
reboot, as I say, I'd like to see potentially brand new characters in a brand new universe. It could still be like a reimagined version of Equestria. But I would like to see like like maybe a completely new take on the franchise. Have see what new characters would be like, and I think the safest and sensible thing for Hasbro to do at this point, probably moving forward with the franchise, is to renew it. Um, I would agree that that is the best thing for them to do, and something fresh, something new, new characters, a new story, and a new setting. Maybe with reference, maybe with sort of out of universe references to the past, um, to the past incarnations.
Hmm.
But and I was thinking actually, I just on that, I actually watched the episode, Too Many Pinkies the other day.
Oh
I
yeah.
recently rewatched that where Pinky goes to the magic pond and she copies herself.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
actually one brief scene where she makes a face
Yeah.
resemblant of the G1 versions.
Yeah. Yeah, there is some really good little like. Obviously, she's the fourth wall breaking character, isn't she?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, there's some obviously there's an episode where she makes a Transformers noise
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
I think that's the same one.
Yeah, I think one of my
Yeah,
favorite. I think one of my favorite episodes with Pinkie Pie. I don't know if it's the same episode or not, but um, is when basically it's just mainly the whole episode is just Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash. And basically, Rainbow Dash just wants to have a bit of peace to herself, and she just cannot evade. She tries to get away from Pinkie Pie, but she just keeps appearing everywhere,
yeah,
and she just cannot get away from her. That is one of my all-time favorite episodes. It's just hilarious, just seeing.
yeah, yeah.
It's just like,
I'd say a lot of my favourite episodes of the show. I think a lot of my favourite episodes are the ones kind of centered around Pinkie Pie because
hmm,
she learns a lot not to overstep barriers and marks with other people, well, other ponies or what There's the episode with the donkey. I think I think it's season 2 where she wants to the episode where the Smile song is from,
yeah, yeah,
and and I think yeah with Pinkie Pie she's good. As I say, and so just in case, if our friend Sammy, who goes to TF Nation with us, if you do see this, once again I'm very thankful. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the Maud plush that you're making for me. I'm finally gonna get a Maud Pie plush because I know you're making one for me.
oh, Silver Moon Sam, you mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I did mention we was going live tonight to Silver Moon Sam, but unfortunately, I'm not going to say what's going on because obviously it's personal. But yeah, she's not going to be able to join us while we're live. But I'll send her this link. I will send her the link. So if she wants to watch it when she can, then she can. But I'm not going to go into specifics as to
no,
why she. But yeah, it's personal, so I'm not going to say. But But yeah, so a friend of ours, it's not Sam, our co-host, we're talking about. It's a friend of ours called Sam. She's into MLP as well. She's a G1 fan. She also likes Friendship is Magic as well. And basically, she's just a mutual friend of ours who enjoys this My Little Pony as well. And that's where Lawrence was referencing. She's making a mod.
Yeah, so I've seen the picture of the lunar dragon that she's made for Sam, and it looks
Mm-hmm.
really good. And
Sweet. Um, BT14's come back saying one of the things I like most about the later seasons is whenever they would pair members of the main six together, it really brought out some interesting dynamics. Yeah, I totally agree. We was actually talking about something similar to what you just said about one of my favourite duo dynamics in the later seasons is Starlight Glimmer and Trixie, because I understand when Starlight came into it, when she first came into it, and she was one of like the baddies, and she ended up getting reformatted and becoming good again. After she gets reformatted and she starts to like regain the trust of all of Twilight and her friends, and she becomes kind of like a disciple of Twilight, and she gets taught the friendship is magic and all that, and she becomes a sixth filament bearer technically. Um, I really did love the dynamic of those two on screen. What the episodes, some of the later episodes that feature Starlight Glimmer and Trixie are fantastic, because Trixie's always kind of been seen just as kind of a comedic character. She wasn't a very serious character. She was kind of seen as a rival to Twilight because she was always trying to outshow
yeah,
Twilight by using her
and
magic.
then for merchandise and stuff, she was particularly good. I like her with the with the with the sort of the magician's hat and cloak sort of thing, which I
Hmm.
thought very good for merchandising, obviously.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I would love to get a Trixie plush. I would love to.
I, I
I know they did a
I've got the
Build a
Build a
Bear.
Bear one.
Yeah, I'd like to get a Build a Bear one with a
Mm.
hat and cloak. What about you, Lawrence? What are your favourite? When they tuned up certain characters in the end, later seasons of the
As I
main
say, yeah,
characters.
yeah, Starlight and Sunset Shimmer, the sort of those storylines. I like what they did. I like what they did, and I think that yeah, they all had good, really good storylines. And say, going away from moving away slightly from that, I always, the reason why I've always wanted a Maud plush, but thankfully, because Sammy's making me one. And the
Hmm.
cases I have tried, the one place I can get one sort of custom made, I've seen how they look. They're very good, but they're like 200 quid.
Hmm.
I'm just not willing to pay that for a plush. Um, as I say, I've always loved Maud because I find her character quite identifiable, and the differences between her and Pinky,
Hmm.
quite, you know, there's hints of, because Maud's very shy and she's very relaxed, but she had a good story arc.
I mean, that's an interesting dynamic as well. I mean, I know they're all of like Pinkie Pie and her sisters is really, really funny. I mean, it's just like you've got Pinkie Pie, who's like the extreme, um, very off the wall character, and then you've got Maud, who's very subdued, and she basically has a pet rock, and that's kind of
Yeah,
like the running joke with Maud's character. And then
or
you've got
Boulder, her and
yeah,
Boulder.
Boulder, yeah, and then you've got the other sister who's really shy,
Yeah,
very soft spoken. I
I,
do
I
love
like that
that dynamic.
when they go, in the scenes like when it goes back to the rock farm. I think one of my other favorite episodes is like the episode the Maud couple, where Maud
Mm.
meets Mudbriar, and like Pinky really can't identify with him because of how he talks,
Yeah.
how he's always very technical. Um,
Mm.
and but then when she goes back to the rock farm, her sisters help her to sort of she help her to understand how Maud sees him. and like Maud, he has the Twiggy, the inanimate object
Yeah.
for a pet.
Yeah. I think there is some interesting dynamics. I mean, obviously, you've got the Cutie Mark Crusader dynamic. That's really cute. Um,
Yeah, they were
yeah,
good.
yeah. And then you've
The
got.
only thing I think I love what they did with the Cutie Mark Crusaders, but the thing is, I was very surprised that after that, Diamond Tiara, obviously she had the big storyline that she was bullying the Cutie Mark Crusaders, but when they
Mhm.
help her, but after that she doesn't make another appearance.
Yeah, it's really strange because the writing shifts quite a lot over the span of the 9 seasons. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really weird. It's kind of like because, like I say, we were just talking is that like the first 3 seasons, the first 3 seasons, because originally it was only meant to be 3 seasons in length,
yeah,
and then obviously due to the popularity, it ended up getting greenlit for a fourth season, and it just carried on going and became a juggernaut and went on for 9. But originally, it was only intended for a 3 season run. Um, but what I do really, really love is like within the first 3 seasons, when it went well, not love. I mean, when it comes to the story, is that the first 3 seasons it went in a certain direction that it was heavily hinting at a potential that Spike could become an element bearer. And then obviously from season 4 onwards, the writing changed again, and Spike ended up becoming much more less involved. And he wasn't. He became much more of a secondary character, and he kind of got really good friends in the later seasons. He became really friendly with Discord, and it became kind of
yeah,
like it became like Spike and Discord kind of duo thing going on, dynamic.
yeah. And going on with that,
Um,
I think one of the issues that G5 had was that its secondary characters didn't have the story arcs like the secondary characters in Friendship is Magic did.
hmm,
You know, I think a lot of G5's issue, a lot of G5's story, a lot of its content was centered around the main five,
hmm.
and I didn't find a lot of the. I mean, I know obviously they had the baby dragon, you know, that could have gone somewhere, and
Yeah, that's another thing as well because with Make Your Mark, obviously you had the main 5, and then they actually brought in a little dragon as well.
yeah, and obviously Misty does she joins them at the end, which is
Yeah, she
one thing
becomes the 6th member. Yeah,
what I really liked, a character that I really liked about, I think a character that really stood out was Misty.
yeah, 100%. I mean, there was a lot of flaws with Make Your Mark. However, I did actually enjoy Make Your Mark to a certain extent. Not as much as Friendship is Magic, but there was certain elements, certain things of Make Your Mark that I did actually really enjoy. And one of those things was mainly Misty because when obviously at the writing really shone through. The writing and the support for Misty was fantastic. You got a proper
Yeah,
arc with her.
she really was starting. She was really going
Yeah,
for it, and
yeah. You got a really good
because
arc with
what I
Misty.
would have thought, would have happened was that she might have helped to redeem
Mm,
Opaline. It
mm.
might have gone like it might have gone like the story with sort of Tempest Shadow in the movie.
Yeah,
She's seen the error of her ways.
yeah. I mean, like I say, we never really got a proper conclusion for Make Your Mark because they
No,
decided to
well,
end it
it
like
was
they did.
left open ended in like the snowy dimension, wasn't it? They were
Yeah. Well, they did that. Basically, you could tell they were leading towards something because the final special was it was what was it something Starlight or something.
yeah,
I've forgotten the name of that, but it was Starlight was in the name, and a lot of people were thinking, "Oh, is Starlight going to make another appearance?" But the fact is, Starlight is that didn't happen. It had absolutely nothing. That when that special came out, it had nothing to do with Starlight as the character, Starlight Glimmer. It was a different dimension, a different world, and
yeah,
they brought in a different. bad guy, didn't they? Was it like a tiger or something?
Yeah.
Brought in like a different character, bad character and everything, and yeah, it was a bit of a mess. Make Your Mark was a bit of a mess. It was all over the place. It was almost like they didn't know what to do. I'm guessing Netflix kind of caused problems, and then they had a bit of issue with Hasbro as well. So I
Mm.
think they had problems. I think there was a lot. I think there was like a communication breakdown somewhere when it comes to the planning of the story. They were like with Make Your Mark, they was originally going to go down a certain tangent. You can see that with what they introduced with the movie, and then when it came to Make Your Mark the series, they just kind of fell completely flat on their face with that. But the only redeeming thing I would say is Misty. I mean, you got a proper all around arc. You got a full circle arc for Misty. You got like when she comes into it, she's basically just doing all these little things for Opaline. You got all these different things for Opaline. She's doing all these not like basically spying on Sunny and her friends and reporting back, trying to kind of like derail things and everything. So these little things that Misty was made to do, and then Misty starts kind of wanting to be part of it. She's never had a friend, and she's never had she don't have a cutie mark at that point, and then basically she starts kind of like becoming friendly with Sunny and her friends. And then she actually does gain her cutie mark, and then she becomes technically the sixth member or the sixth element bearer of that crew. And then by the end of the story arc and everything, she's become a full fledged, and they do defeat Opaline, whatever, yeah, Opaline, and they defeat her. And then she's free to make her own decisions and become friends with the rest of them. And I really like that because that was the only thing the writing got right, and it was a full circle arc for her. But yet all the other characters ended up becoming pretty wasted. I mean, Hitch became a very wasted character because of the whole
Yeah,
baby
yeah, he
dragon
was.
thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, originally when G5 started with the film, my favorite character was Misty. It was not Misty,
Izzy.
Izzy. Izzy was my favorite character of G5 when it came to the film. I really loved Izzy. But then when the series started,
Mm.
even though I still like Izzy as a character, but the thing is, as Make Your Mark past the movies continued, everything, all those characters, what really defined them in the movie, they lost in the series. And the only real standout character became Misty when she was introduced, and she became became friends with them.
Yeah, I was
She's
just
the
gonna
only
say
really
the
defining
year that
character.
the year that Opaline's voice actress came to PonyCon. I think that was that the same year Kelly Sheridan came, or so you've been to
No,
two, haven't you, John?
I've been to two Ponycons. Yeah,
Yeah,
um,
you were there, weren't you? I think because I think her daughter was the voice of Misty, and she was there with her, wasn't she?
oh no, I won't know that one. No, that was that the Swedish voice actress that went?
Yeah,
She wasn't. Yeah, there was a PonyCon. It was that was the one before. I've only been to two. There was one PonyCon that I didn't go to. They had a voice actress that went, and her daughter came with her, but she wasn't the English voice actress. I believe she was the Swedish or something.
yeah,
I think either Swedish or something. She was a different nationality voice actress, but her daughter was the voice of Misty, so they came as a duo.
yeah.
Um, no, I wasn't at that one. The only ones I've done for PonyCon is the what basically when uh,
Kelly
Ke-
Sheridan
yeah,
and
Kelly Sheridan.
then
But when
Ashley Ball and then AJ.
yeah, when Kelly Sheridan come, there was that woman there that was the voice of Opaline. I think she was the voice of
Yeah,
Opaline for Make Your Mark. And then obviously I was there for Ashley Ball as well, which was the second
yeah.
time.
Because I remember you had actually booked to go to the TFN Minicon that year, but you ended up not going to that because at the because I
Yeah, I
remember
was.
I saw the announcement for Ashley Ball
Yeah, I
like
was.
about a month and a half before they announced
Yeah,
before the actual convention. I rang Sam straight away and said, have you seen Ponycon's announcement? He said, right, I'll
yeah.
let John know straight away.
I know. Yeah, yeah, that was funny. I was originally going to go to that TFN Reading, which was in November
Yeah,
that year, and that kind of fell through because travel was a problem for that one. So I was kind of already on the shelf of whether to do it or not. Um, and then Sam messaged me saying that Ashley Ball is going to PonyCon, and then you messaged me shortly after, and I was like, shit. I was like, well, Reading's not happening anymore.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just on the obviously I know we did upload our TF Nation video last year to this channel, and it
yeah,
has relevance because Transformers is a Hasbro franchise, and obviously
yes,
we do talk about other properties on this channel now and then. I'm just thinking, the TF Nation still actually do though. Now they do the sort of I know they're just called TF Nation Manchester now, but do they still do the meet and greets like they have just meetups?
yeah. They do. They have a meetup. Yeah, they have. They have something called the Gathering, which is, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's in. I think it's in Glasgow, something like that.
yeah,
It's an official meetup, but it's not a convention or anything like that. It's just basically just a meetup. But yeah, they have something called TFN the Gathering.
yeah,
But I believe it's in Scotland somewhere that
yeah.
it's hosted at. But yes. Um. Right. So I've got some more comments. So, right. BT14 says, I think Spike definitely deserved more compared to how important he is to Twilight. As
Oh
Twilight
yeah,
continued
definitely.
to grow, Twilight continued to grow with newer bit of responsibilities, it kind of felt like Spike got left in the dust a bit. Yep, I totally agree. We have
Yeah, he
kind of
did.
spoken a
He
little bit.
did.
Yeah,
I mean,
Spike.
I think my favourite sort of story arc with Spike, where he had the most character development, was when he was his storyline with the Changelings.
Yeah, I mean, Spike was much more of a stronger character within the first 3 seasons. And then from season 4 onwards, Spike got more and more less involved, and he didn't go on like the big adventures as much, and he became sidelined. And when they introduced Starlight Glimmer, he became less and less involved because Starlight Glimmer became the sixth element bearer. There was originally, you could definitely see they were hinting at sixth element bearer for Spike,
Yeah,
but I think they
but I
wanted
suppose
to
with
keep
him being a
it.
dragon and the other six being and the other
Well,
five being
it's
ponies,
it
then
doesn't. I don't think it really matters because the thing is, Friendship is Magic was heavily. Even though the core cast, the core characters are all ponies, which is I think as it should be because it's My Little Pony. They should all be ponies for the main characters. But what I'm saying is that Friendship is Magic was very multi-creature.
yeah, it was. I mean,
It
you had the big plots with like the dragons and
Yeah, you had different races. You had the different races throughout the run. You had these different races. You had the changelings. Then you had all these different other creatures that came into it. You had, when Twilight opened a school, you had all these different ones coming in. You had another dragon character. You had Smolder, who was another character dragon. So it was very. I think any creature could become an element bearer, not necessarily be a pony, but because it
no,
being My Little Pony, I think they wanted to keep it all ponies for the core characters. That's
yeah,
why they kind of changed their mind of making Spike a sixth element bearer, made him much more of a secondary character. Even though he was still a supporting character to Twilight, he was still heavily featured of being her closest friend from childhood.
mm,
But the thing is, when I think that happened because they originally wanted to bring in a sixth pony character to be the sixth element bearer, which was ended up
Yeah.
becoming Starlight Glimmer. So yeah, I completely agree with your comment there, BT14. I mean, I think Spike became much more of a wasted character. He had a lot more potential than I think he should have been. I think they should have done more for him. Spike not really physically or mentally grow as much didn't help much either. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, he remained a baby dragon throughout the whole 9 seasons, except for the time gap episode, the very end
Yeah.
two-parter episode. The very end two-parter episode where there's something like, I think is it like a 10-year gap or something like that
Yeah.
between for the coronation, which is a coronation of when Twilight becomes the ruler of Equestria, and takes the mantle away from Celestia and Luna. There is like a 10-year age gap, and that's the only time that you see Spike has grown up into an adult dragon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no growth to him at all. I completely agree that the support to him really changed, and the dynamicness of the writing changed throughout the run. You can definitely see in the writing things changed. We've got Silvermoon in the chat, Lawrence.
Hi, Sammy.
Hello.
We just mentioned you earlier.
Hiya, Sam. How you doing? Hope you're good.
How you
We
doing?
just
Great to see you. Great to see
uh,
you, Sam.
um. Did you have a question for Sam as she's here? If you want to ask her about the mod plush, if she's
Oh,
still here.
no, 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 no. It's just, as I say, Sam, there's no pressure whatsoever. Do it in your own time. I'm really impressed with you know, you sent me the picture of the body, and you know, I'm really impressed with it. And having seen the picture of the lunar dragon that you did for Sam, so I do very much look forward to getting Maud, because I have wanted a Maud plush for a while. But as I say, do it in your own time, and of course I will compensate you for it at TF Nation.
I hope everything's okay, Sam. I hope everything's okay with you. And I haven't gone into specifics. I'm not going to mention anything personal. I haven't said anything of that description, but I hope everything's okay with you. I hope everything's all right there that you mentioned earlier. But good to see you, by the way. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Sam. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, so just to say, Sam, just to keep you, the reason why Sam, as in our co-host and friend Sam, he was meant to join us, but he's having technical issues, so he's dropped out tonight. But I'm off to the pony convention, Griffith Isles, next week, and we might, and the following Friday we might be, hopefully we'll be back as a trio, and I can share my Griffith Isles 2026 experience.
Yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully, yeah, like Laura's just said, Sam Silvermoon, um, Sam, fake Sam. That's a running joke between us. We call Sam fake Sam, our mate Sam. Um, but no, he was originally meant to join us tonight. He was originally meant to join us tonight, but unfortunately, he's had some computer issues and he's only able to come on. So what we're going to do is, Lawrence has just said next weekend he's going to Griffith Isles in Manchester. So the Friday after Griffith Isles, we're going to come together again. Hopefully, all three of us, and Lawrence can talk about his experience there, and we can finally get an actual all three of us on a live stream again at some point. Um, Doing okay. Just glad to be home. I bet you are. I bet you are. And all's well currently. We'll update you soon. Okay, no worries. But yeah, so I think we're just going to run it for another 5 more minutes or so, maybe 10
Yeah.
minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll probably bring this to an end. Unfortunately, I do apologise to anybody that was really looking forward to seeing Sam with us, our mutual co-host Sam.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure the two of us together, you know, we can easily compensate for him, can't we?
yeah. Me and Lawrence have got it covered.
We do love you, really, Sam. We do.
What's this? BT14 says, across all villains in G4, which one would you think is most redeemable, aside from Discord, of course? Ooh.
Even though she isn't, maybe Tempest Shadow, but given that she's only really in the movie,
That's another writing change as well, because
yeah,
they actually wanted to bring Tempest into it after the
yeah.
movie, but
Because the
it
thing is,
changed.
in the first episode of season 8, we know that continues sort of directly on from the movie because
Yeah,
Tempest
it
is
does.
mentioned.
Well,
Twilight
also,
says he went back to the Storm King's dimension, or
yeah, yeah. To be honest, I would have really have loved Tempest to actually come into it properly.
yeah.
Um,
You do see her in the season 9 finale, but she's
yeah,
just
you
there. She
do.
doesn't have any lines or anything. Obviously,
No,
because
she doesn't
they
say anything.
no, because she couldn't. She couldn't. Obviously, they couldn't afford Emily Blunt, most likely.
Most likely the case that they gave her a cameo very at the end, but it would have been nice to at least get maybe an episode or two with Tempest in
Yeah,
after the movie, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But when it comes to a bad guy that I think would be the most redeemable, for me, I think the treatment of how they treated Cozy Glow was a little bit over the
yeah,
top. Um, is it Cozy Glow? The little filly devil, the little evil filly that was part with Tyrek and Chrysalis.
yeah,
Um, a lot of fans were really, really kind of shocked of how they treated and the fact that they turned her to stone. They literally did like what they did with Discord. Discord was originally was sealed within a statue, and then he broke free. They did that same kind of thing where they actually all basically Tyrek, Chrysalis, and Kozaglow were all sealed within a statue forever, forever entombed. And a lot of people thought it was a little over the top for such a small little character who was she was evil, but she wasn't evil. She was just she was a little
misunderstood. She was
she was
at the end.
misunderstood. She was misunderstood. She ended up being drafted in with Tyrek and all that, and she never had a stable, proper, fundamental background in order to become a better pony. And I think for me, I think Cozy Glow, I think they could have redeemed her. I think they could have changed her, or I think within time, I think Cozy Glow could have ended up being a redeemed character. I I wouldn't. I don't think. There was some talk, wasn't there, back in the day, of possibly redeeming Chrysalis, but a lot of fans were like, "Nah, nah, 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 nah.
Yeah,
You do not. Chrysalis is a fantastic baddie. She is
she is.
evil.
Yeah,
She is
I don't
fundamentally
know. I don't know
evil."
if you might have seen, but I got a very nice Chrysalis plush for
Yeah,
Christmas. Yeah,
I've,
I got a Discord plush and a Chrysalis crush. Sorry, a Chrysalis plush and a Discord plush for Christmas,
oh,
which
nice.
last year.
Um, I mean, yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, Discord technically does become redeemed anyway, but in his own way. He becomes real good friends with Fluttershy, and Fluttershy being really good at talking to creatures and woodland animals. Through Fluttershy, Discord become a much better became a much better person. He didn't. He's kind of he still kind of was his old self in certain situations, but he ended up kind of contributing to certain things and helped them out during like some big fights and battles in the at the end.
Yeah,
So technically, Discord does redeem him. He redeems himself. He doesn't get redeemed through magic. He redeems himself because
Yeah,
he.
that's always a good storyline. Like
Hmm,
like they've been manipulated. Not they're not under mind control or anything. It's always a good storyline in any franchise. I think,
yeah.
and
I,
it's
I
much
honestly,
more relatable.
yeah, I honestly think Kozaglo was possibly potentially could have been redeemed. I think how they came to the conclusion of just kind of sealing her away forever in a statue was a little bit over the top and quite dark for a kid's cartoon. It was quite
Yeah.
dark. Yes, but yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping we'll find out some more information soon because apparently the whole rebrand it has been mentioned at 2027.
Yeah.
When
It is
I
about time, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, 2027 apparently is when this rebrand is supposed to launch for My Little Pony. And I know we're only in April so far. We're at the latter end of April, within the last week of April. I'm hoping, because I do know there's some Hasbro investor events. There's at least 2 or 3 of them per year, Hasbro investor events. And usually we find out information about new toy lines, any potential animated series or shows coming up
Yeah.
within the
I
next
say
year or
that another
so.
thing Hasbro's got coming is that, this Netflix series for Power Rangers.
Yeah, there's the Power Ranger. Well, I don't know. Yeah, the whole Power Ranger thing coming into it. Apparently, that's gone to Disney again. Apparently.
Yeah, yeah, I have heard that. I mean, to be fair, the first time, I think Disney owned Power Rangers. I think from 2003 up to 2009, so they had it for 6 years. Some of the Disney seasons I did quite like,
Hmm.
um, and some weren't very good. But then again, not all of the not all of the Saban series were great either.
Yeah, I mean, there was some hit and miss here. I mean, to be honest, I really liked that. Personally, I grew up with the Saban era anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a big fan of obviously Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Even I love that series, and I really enjoyed it up to Time Force. I really enjoyed it up
yeah.
to Time Force,
Yeah,
and
Time
then
Force was Time Force was I think where the show first took a bit more of a more mature turn.
yeah, it did. But what I really liked about I mean, when it went to Disney, my favorite Disney uh, my favorite Disney era is a series, a part of Disney has to be SPD.
Yeah, yeah, SPD was a good series.
Yeah, Power Rangers SPD is one of my favorites for
Yeah,
Disney era.
I think to be honest,
And
that is the
then
best Disney season.
yeah, it's actually probably it is definitely a better series. And then
It's one of the fan favorites. Genuinely, it was.
yeah, and then I
Um,
would I would also say Power Rangers Samurai.
yeah, that technically was the first That was the first Neo Saban season.
Yes, it was, but well, this is the thing is even though that was Saban bought the rights back and they made Power Rangers Samurai, but it technically was done. It was Saban, but it was technically still under the Disney umbrella.
Yeah.
So it and
RPM was the
then it went
last. Yeah,
yeah
RPM was the
RPM.
last full-on Disney season.
Yeah, I didn't like RPM. I didn't like RPM and I didn't like Operation Overdrive either.
No, well, I did quite like RPM. I got to like it, but no, Operation Overdrive. No, we can all say most fans would say that doesn't exist. So for a 15th anniversary season, that was a major letdown.
Yeah, I mean, there was some hit and wins. I mean, I liked Wild Force as well. I didn't mind Wild
Yeah,
Force.
yeah.
Um,
What? Yeah, yeah. I thought Wild Force was a good season, but it was one of
yeah,
those seasons that when it was good, it was very good, but when it wasn't, it was quite painful.
yeah, I agree with what you're saying. there was a lot of hit and miss over the Disney era. I think the Saban stuff is better. When Saban come back, and obviously
Yeah,
they technically it's under when Samurai came out, then they did Megaforce, which a lot of the fans, some of the fans don't like. There's a bit of a 50-50 divide within the fan base for Megaforce.
yeah.
Um,
I thought that the way, with it being 20th anniversary season, I like the way that it paid homage to, to the past seasons,
mm,
and the fact that they were able to like access all the powers of the past Rangers, and that were good. But
mm,
then again, the things they did in order to just basically use as much of the Sentai footage as possible, like introducing like several Ranger suits from prior to Power Rangers, because obviously Super Sentai began in the 1970s, whereas the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers didn't come around until about 1993, and
yeah,
it's like it's. And I think the issue that Power Rangers always had, as with any other tokusatsu adaptation, is they have to work around, they have to be able to use the footage for their episodes. They
yeah.
have to take they have to they have to come up with these, often these storylines and plot jumps that don't make much sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Megaforce. I mean, that episode that you're talking about, where they brought back a lot of legendary Ranger teams and stuff. To be honest, a lot of fans were really kind of disappointed with that, and
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
can
the
understand it.
legendary battle. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was because considering the legendary battle had been teased like since the beginning of since the beginning of the first Megaforce season. So considering it was technically a 2 year wait, and they
mm,
only bought they only bought 10 sort of veteran actors back. And,
yeah,
and and you can understand why, because obviously because of budgetary constraints, and obviously with it being in New Zealand,
yeah,
that they have to include the cost of travel and
yeah,
accommodation and all that.
yeah. To be honest, I mean, they didn't actually. They could have brought in a lot more of the
Yeah,
actual English Power Ranger actors. They apparently none of them were even asked.
no,
That
well, no,
is,
I heard that there were a lot of veteran actors from more of the classic seasons that
yeah,
were asked, but I think due to what they'd be paid, and due to how
yeah,
poor the pay would be, they did say
yeah.
no, and
Apparent,
understandably it would.
yeah. Apparently, Austin St. John was asked, but he rejected it because he said that the money that they were asking wouldn't even have paid for the flight there.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Apparently, the money they were asking some of these legendary to reprise their roles or make
yeah,
cameo appearances. Apparently, some of them weren't even asked to come back, and
no.
some was and rejected because the money that they was asking. So
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, it was a bit of a mess to be honest. And then,
Yeah, no, I mean, as I say, because you had, again, it comes back to, it's like you see all the legendary rangers together, but it's like obviously it's most of them are in suited form, and it's quite a poor mashup of original footage mixed with the Go Kaija footage,
yeah,
and it's like and because you could clearly see in the battle scenes, you could clearly see clips of like several other Sentai teams that we don't know of. And obviously, they had the ability to morph into any other Ranger throughout the Super Mega Force season, and they had to come up with just to get around the hurdle of using all the footage to use like all they called them, like, what was it, blitz mode and all that, because and say, oh, these are Ranger powers that have never been seen before on this planet. I'm like, no, that doesn't fly well. But
yeah, I
but to
agree.
but to long-term passionate fans, we understand why they do it. But to,
Yeah, I
like you said,
agree.
the kids won't get that. I
Yeah,
mean, if you go back to the Mighty Morphin days, like the whole thing they did with, like, the storyline, like with Tommy losing his Green Ranger powers and coming back as the White Ranger, and you kind of, obviously we aren't aware that it's evolved around, we aren't aware at that point that it was a show that, dependent upon Japanese footage.
Yeah, I agree. I'm intrigued about the. I'm intrigued about what the future may bring, because apparently they're not going to. They're no longer going to be adapting it from any of the Japanese stuff.
No. That's a good. Or, as I say, Power Rangers in its continuity ended apparently with Cosmic Fury.
Yeah, that was the last.
Have you
Yeah,
got as
that was
far
the
as
last.
that yet?
I think I can't remember if I have now. I think I was just about to start Cosmic Fury. I don't know if I've seen it or not.
It's only 10 episodes. There's 2 seasons of Dino Fury.
Yeah.
And then there's Cosmic Fury, which is only 10 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to see if I can check it out at some point. I didn't mind Cosmic Fury, Dino Fury. Sorry, I didn't mind that. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought the characters. I like the fact that they brought Lord Zed back and everything, but
Yeah.
they didn't do much with him. But apparently, like the New Zealand actor Andrew Lang, who was a regular, who had been a regular on the show since it moved to New Zealand, but he got so much hate from the fans because he didn't didn't resemble Robert Axelrod. It's not his fault, because unfortunately, Robert Axelrod's no longer with us.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I do like one thing about Dino Fury. They did bring Austin St. John back. They actually managed to get Austin St. John to make a cameo appearance.
That was Beast Morphers, wasn't it? That was Beast Morphers, when they have like the team of all the Dino themed Rangers.
Oh, is it that one? I thought it was.
In Cosmic Fury, without spoiling it too much, Billy comes back as a main character.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
But I agree with what Silver Moon just said. She's agreed. She loved SPD. I know she likes Dino Charge as well. I actually quite like Dino Charge.
Yeah, Dino Charge was a pretty good season. I like the fact, given obviously that one, like RPM, that isn't in the main universe. Because that ended with the course of history being completely changed, that the dinosaurs were never extinct.
Yeah.
And if that was in the main universe, a lot of the past events in the Power Rangers series would have made no sense at all.
Yeah, I agree. Right then, it has come to that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to bring this to an end now, because unfortunately we are missing a member, and it would have been nice to have got Sam's input on some of these questions we've been asked during the stream. But anyway, we're finally here. We're finally alive. We are alive, people. We are semi-back at the moment. But yeah, so I just want to say a big thank you before we go. I just want to say a big thank you to Ryan on Wi-Fi for joining us. Thank you to
Ryan.
Yeah, thank you to BT14
for coming BT. In. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for all your questions.
And of course, thank you to Silver Moon.
Thank you.
So thank you so much to everybody. Yeah, we will. Have a good night, lads. Thank you very much. We will.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And again, Ryan says thank you for streaming. Yeah, no worries.
You're welcome, Ryan.
But yeah, so thank you. We will be back very soon. Again, we do apologise for the absence, because literally.
And just a reminder: if anyone watching this is going to be at Griffith Isles, Manchester next weekend, I will be there. So if you do see me, please don't hesitate to come and say hello. We can have a photo. We can have a chat.
All I'm going to say, ladies, if there's a group of ladies that's at Griffith Isles, be very careful of Lawrence. He's a little bit of a silver fox, our Lawrence. There's some stories we could tell you. But no, I hope you have a great time at Griffith Isles, mate. And I hope it's a good weekend for you. Let me know. Get some footage as well, and
I
pop it
will
up
do,
on the
yeah.
channel if you want.
So I'm very lucky to be able to do Griffith Charles again this year. Just things I won't talk about on here, but due to a lucky turn of events,
Mm.
I am able to do it as a kind of extra bonus this year. So.
Nice. Okay then. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We'll be back
Thank
very
you.
soon. We'll be back very soon again with another stream, and hopefully we'll find out some more information about what the future of MLP will be. I'm hoping we'll get some confirmation this year of what 2027, 2028 could be. Well, hopefully. But anyway, till then, take care. Bye bye for now. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Bye. Bye.